Welcome to Chapter 6, the first part of All Quiet on the Western Front. In Chapters 6 and 7, we're going to try and focus on the change of the characters and their transformation. Change and transformation are very much the same. We're also going to talk about change of mood, etc. And we're going to really dig into the concept of irony. We studied irony before. We know that there are three kinds of irony. Situational irony, where things aren't what they appear to be. Say hi to my dog. We have verbal irony, where oftentimes that's where these guys tell jokes on the front, and they're sarcastic and ironic. And finally, there's dramatic irony. I'm not sure if there's any in these chapters, but we're going to find out. So on page 99, let's start Chapter 6, first section. There are rumors of an offensive. We go up to the front 2 days earlier than usual. On the way, we passed a shelled schoolhouse. Stacked up against its longer side is a high double wall of yellow, unpolished, brand new coffins. They still smell of resin and pine and the forest. There are at least 100. Think about that. Think about there being prepared 100 coffins so that they know that people are going to die. Imagine soldiers coming in and seeing that. How ironic it is that they're still alive and that yet in front of them they know that they're going to die. These coffins are also symbolic. There's a symbol of their own death. Not to mention the fact that the coffins are new and young and use fresh pine. There's a good preparation for the offensive, says Mueller, astonished. They're for us, growls Dettering. Don't talk rot, says Kat to him angrily. You be thankful if you get so much as a coffin, grins Jaden. They'll slip you a waterproof sheet for your old Aunt Sally of a ore case. So, a little bit more trench humor. Ironic. The others jest too. Jest is jokes. Unpleasant jests, but what else can a man do? It's verbal irony. The coffins are really for us. The organization surpasses itself in that kind of thing. The organization is the army. Ahead of us, everything is shimmering. The first night we try to get our bearings. When it is fairly quiet, we can hear the transports behind the enemy lines rolling ceaselessly until dawn. Remember, ceaselessly was a word we learned earlier. Kat says that they do not go back, but are bringing up troops, munitions, and guns. The English artillery has been strengthened. That we can detect at once. There are at least 4 more batteries of 9-inch guns to the right of the farm, and behind the poplars, those are trees, they have to put in trench mortars. Besides these, they have brought up a number of those little French beasts with instantaneous fuses. So they're talking about bombs and shells. We are now in low spirits. After we've been in the dugouts 2 hours, our own shells begin to fall on the trench. So even their own side of the army's bombs are falling on them. This is the 3rd time in 4 weeks. If it were simply a mistaken aim, no one would say anything. But the truth is that the barrels are worn out. The shots are often so uncertain that they land within our own lines. Tonight, 2 of our men were wounded by them. So the army is so tired, including all the weapons, that their weapon doesn't work anymore. And so when it doesn't work, their own side gets injured by it. So they can't possibly feel like they're winning. So low spirits, that marks the beginning of the change in how they feel. Their mood has gotten worse. The front is a cage in which we must await fearfully what may happen. That's an image, a metaphor. We lie under the network of arching shells and live in a suspense of uncertainty. Over us, chance hovers. Notice that chance is capitalized, so it's personified. It's not a real person. It doesn't hover like, float above us. Hover is float. If a shot comes, we can duck. That is all. We neither know nor can determine where it will fall. It is this chance that makes us indifferent. Very important vocabulary word, indifferent. They just don't care anymore. Even though they know they can die, even though they know they can go home, none of these things do they care about. They're so depressed and so battle weary that they just don't care. A few months ago, I was sitting in a dugout playing scat cards. After a while, I stood up and went to visit some friends in another dugout. On my return, nothing more was to be seen of the first one. It had been blown to pieces by a direct hit. I went back to the second and arrived just in time to lend a hand digging it out. In the interval, it had been buried. So two of the places that he had just been in trenches, he went to go do something and came back and they had been bombed. So he just narrowly escaped dying. It's like waking up and, there's a car accident right after your car and you wonder why you didn't get hit. So they're talking about chance and fate and, the luck of the draw as opposed to any kind of religion. It's just, where you happen to be at the time. So why care anymore? You don't have any control. That's the whole point. If your life is about chance, then you don't have control. So why should you care to try and control it? It is just as much a matter of chance that I am still alive as that I might have been hit. In a bomb-proof dugout, I may be smashed to atoms, and in the open may survive an hour's bombardment. Bombardment unscathed. Unscathed means without a scratch. No soldier outlives 1,000 chances, but every soldier believes in chance and trusts his luck. I was going to say it's kind of similar to 9/11. There were many, many stories of people who said, I was late to work that day. I just missed dying by this. So we must look out for our bread. The rats have become much more numerous lately because the trenches are no longer in good condition. Dettering says it is a sure sign of a coming bombardment. The rats here are particularly repulsive. They are so fat, the kind we all call corpse rats. They have shocking, evil, naked faces, and it is nauseating to see their long, nude tails. So if the rats are fat, and they're called corpse rats, then they must be feeding on dead people, on dead soldiers. They seem to be mighty hungry. Almost every man has had his bread gnawed, like the rats have eaten the bread. Crop wrapped in his waterproof sheet and put it under his head, but he cannot sleep because they run over his face to get at it. Dettering meant to outwit them. He fastened a thin wire to the roof and suspended his bread from it. During the night, when he switched on his pocket torch, he saw the wire swing to and fro. On the bread was riding a fat rat. At last we put a stop to it. We cannot afford to throw the bread away because then we should have nothing left to eat in the morning. So we carefully cut off the bits of bread that the animals have gnawed. The slices we cut off are heaped together in the middle of the floor. Each man takes out his spade and lies down prepared to strike. Dettering, Crop, and Cat hold their pocket torches ready. Pocket torches are flashlights. After a few minutes, we hear the first shuffling and tugging. It grows. Now it is the sound of many little feet. Then the torches switch on and every man strikes at the heap, which scatters with a rush. The assault is good. We toss the bits of rat over the parapet and again lie in wait. The parapet is the top wall of the trench. Several times we repeat the process. At least the beasts get wise to it, or perhaps they have scented the blood. They return no more. Nevertheless, before morning, the remainder of the bread on the floor has been carried off. In the adjoining sector, they attacked 2 large cats and a dog, bit them to death, and devoured them. Next day, there was an issue of Edammer cheese. Each man gets almost a quarter of a cheese. In one way, that is all to the good, for Edammer is tasty, but in another way it is vile, because the fat red balls have long been a sign of bad time coming. So here's a symbol. These big, round, red balls means bad things are coming because the officers at the top know that these men could die soon, so that they send them delicacies so that at least they'll have. It's like a dying man's last meal in prison. So they become a symbol of death, of foreshadowing death. Our bad times coming. Our forebodings increase as rum is served out. We drink it, of course, but are not greatly comforted. So now they're getting liquor when they haven't had liquor before, so people know that they're going to die. Last meal. During the day, we loaf about and make war on the rats. Ammunition and hand grenades become more plentiful. We overhaul the bayonets, that is to say, the ones that have a saw on the blunt edge. If the fellows over there catch a man with one of those, he's killed at sight. In the next sector, some of our men were found whose noses were cut off and their eyes poked out with their own saw bayonets. Their mouths and noses were stuffed with sawdust so that they suffocated. What a horrible way to die. So the enemy was cutting off their noses and stuffing their mouths with sawdust so that they choked to death. Some of the recruits have bayonets of this sort. We take them away and give them the ordinary kind. But the bayonet has practically lost its importance. It is usually the fashion now to charge with bombs and spades only. The sharpened spade is a more handy and many-sided weapon. Not only can it be used for jabbing a man under the chin, but is much better for striking with because of its greater weight. And if one hits between the neck and shoulder, it easily cleaves as far down as the chest. So cleaves means to cut in half, to cut something in half. That's why that big knife that you have in your knife thing is called a cleaver. Gigantic thing, because it can cut straight down to bone. The bayonet frequently jams on the thrust, and then a man has to kick hard on the other fellow's belly to pull it out again. And in the interval, he may easily get one himself. And what's more, the blade often gets broken. At night, they send over gas. We expect the attack to follow and lie with our masks on, ready to tear them off as soon as the first shadow appears. Dawn approaches without anything happening. Only the everlasting, nerve-wracking roll behind the enemy lines. Trains, lorries. But what are they concentrating? Our artillery fires on it continually, but still it does not cease. So again, we have this idea of repetition being used over and over again to show us how monotonous and how treacherous and how never-ending, how ceaseless the war is to them. We have tired faces and avoid each other's eyes. They don't even look at each other anymore because there's nothing to say. It will be like the Somme, says Kat gloomily. There we were shelled steadily for 7 days and nights. Kat has lost all his fun since we have been here, which is bad, for Kat is an old front hog and can smell what is coming. So Kat's change shows us that there's going to be more and worse, and that even Kat has lost hope. There's no funniness in him. There's no trench humor anymore. Only Jaden seems pleased with the good rations and the rum. He thinks he might even go back to rest without anything happening at all. It almost looks like it. Day after day passes. At night, I squat in the listening post. Above me, the rockets and the parachute lights shoot up and float down again. I am cautious and tense. My heart thumps. My eyes turn again and again to the luminous dial of my watch. The hands will not budge. It's as if time has stopped. Sleep hangs on my eyelids. I work my toes in my boots in order to keep awake. Nothing happens till I am relieved. Only the everlasting rolling over there. Gradually we grow calmer and play scat and poker continually. Perhaps we will be lucky. All day the sky is hung with observation balloons. There is a rumor that the enemy are going to put tanks over and use low-flying planes for the attack, but that interests us less than what we hear of the new flamethrowers. So here we begin to see tanks appearing, flamethrowers appearing. These are all new technologies that are occurring in the war, even as the war is happening. We're going from bayonets and spades, shovels, small shovels that they sharpen and use as weapons, to tanks and flamethrowers, which haven't happened before. We wake up in the middle of the night. The earth booms. Heavy fire is falling on us. We crouch into corners. We distinguish shells of every caliber. Each man lays hold of his things and looks again every minute to reassure himself that they are still there. The dugout heaves. The night roars and flashes. We look at each other in the momentary flashes of light, and with pale faces and pressed lips shake our heads. Every man is aware of the heavy shells bearing down the parapet, rooting up the embankment and demolishing the upper layers of concrete. When a shell lands in the trench, we note how the hollow, furious blast is like a blow from the paw of a raging beast of prey. Already by morning, a few of the recruits are green and vomiting. They are too inexperienced. That's ironic. Slowly the gray light trickles into the post and pales the flashes of the shells. Morning is come. Usually morning in literature, or dawn, is a symbol of hope and new life. Here, not so much. The explosion of mines mingles with the gunfire. That is the most dementing convulsion of all. The whole region where they go up becomes one grave. Does it actually become a grave? No. A lot of people are dead, yes, but it's a metaphor for a larger thing. The reliefs go out. The observers stagger in, covered with dirt and trembling. One lies down in silence in the corner and eats. The other, an older man of the new draft, sobs. He cries. Twice he has been flung over the parapet, the top of the trench, by the blast of the explosions, without getting any more than shell shock. Shell shock is what we call PTSD these days, so that if, in the war, things explode next to you and scare you, but when you're out of the war, you still have the shakes and the shimmers from a car backfiring or a loud noise. That's called shell shock. Interesting that there are sirens going by right now. The recruits are eyeing him. We must watch them. These things are catching. Already some lips begin to quiver. It is good that it is growing daylight. Perhaps the attack will come before noon. The bombardment does not diminish. It is falling in the rear too. As far as one can see, spout fountains of mud and iron. Fountains aren't usually mud and iron is part of the shells and part of the earth, so this is also a metaphor. A wide belt is being raked. The attack does not come, but the bombardment continues. We are gradually benumbed. That means we're getting number, and we're getting we less care about things. Hardly a man speaks. We cannot make ourselves understood. Our trench is almost gone. At many places, it is only 18 inches high. It is broken by holes and craters and mountains of earth. A shell lands square in front of our post. At once it is dark. We are buried and must dig ourselves out. After an hour, the entrance is clear again, and we are calmer because we have had something to do. So even boredom in the middle of all this. You're hanging out in a trench just waiting to be bombed. You're bored to tears, which is ironic. Our company commander scrambles in and reports that 2 dugouts are gone. The recruits calm themselves when they see him. He says that an attempt will be made to bring up food this evening. Why would the new guys feel calmer when there's an authority figure around? Do you feel safer when your parents are around? Do you feel safer when a policeman is around? They're supposed to know more and be better. And that's, kind of an illusion. Parents and lieutenants and cops and everything else are human beings too and are frightened too. They're trained better and we should trust them, of course, but they make mistakes and they get scared and things happen. So this is what's happening here too. So we oftentimes use illusions to get us through our day as a coping skill, and this is what the young recruits are doing here. That sounds reassuring. No one had thought of it except Jaden. Now the outside world seems to draw a little nearer. If food can be brought up, think the recruits, then it can't be really so bad. We do not disabuse them. That means we don't tell them anything opposite of that. We know that food is as important as ammunition, and only for that reason must be brought up. But it miscarries. That means it doesn't happen. A second party goes out, and it also turns back. Finally, Cat tries, and even he reappears without accomplishing anything. So more changes. No one gets through. Not even a fly is small enough to get through such a barrage. We pull in our belts tighter and chew every mouthful 3 times as long. Still, the food does not last out. We are damnably hungry. I take out a scrap of bread eat the white, and put the crust back in my knapsack. From time to time, I nibble at it. So at this point, to recap for a minute or two, we find that, they're hungry, they're losing weight, they're getting depressed, etc. And hold on just a minute, I'm turning pages to see how far we have. Because this too is a very long chapter. I'm going to start again in a second. They're beginning to change physically, they're beginning to change mentally, they're beginning to change personality-wise. Their personalities are changing, and that's just kind of sad. So let's continue. The night is unbearable, we cannot sleep, but stare ahead of us and doze. Jaden regrets that we wasted the gnawed pieces of bread on the rats. We would gladly have them again to eat now. We are short of water too, but not seriously yet. Towards morning, while it is still dark, there is some excitement. Through the entrance rushes in a swarm of fleeing rats that try to storm the walls. Torches light up the confusion. Everyone yells and curses and slaughters. The madness and despair of many hours unloads itself in this outburst. Faces are distorted, arms strike out, and the beasts scream. We just stop in time to avoid attacking one another. The onslaught has exhausted us. We lie down to wait again. It is a marvel that our post has had no casualties so far. It is one of the less deep dugouts, so that's ironic. It's not a deep dugout, but they haven't had too many deaths from the barrages. A corporal creeps in. He has a loaf of bread with him. 3 people have had the luck to get through during the night and bring some provisions. Provisions are food and things that you need. They say the bombardment extends undiminished as far as the artillery lines. It is a mystery where the enemy gets all his shells. We wait and wait. By midday, what I expected happens. One of the recruits has a fit. I have been watching him for a long time, grinding his teeth and opening and shutting his fists. These hunted, protruding eyes, we know them too well. During the last few hours, he has had merely the appearance of calm. He had collapsed like a rotten tree. There's a simile. So he's having a mental breakdown because of the war. Now he stands up, stealthily creeps across the floor, hesitates a moment, and then glides toward the door. I intercept him and say, "Where are you going?" "I'll be back in a minute," he says, and tries to push past me. "Wait a bit, the shelling will stop soon." He listens for a moment, and his eyes become clear. Then again, he has the glowering eyes of a mad dog, a crazy dog. He is silent. He shoves me aside. So he's turning crazy, like a crazy dog. "1 minute, lad," I say. Cat notices. Just as the recruit shakes me off, Cat jumps in and we hold him. Then he begins to rave. "Leave me alone! Let me go out! I will go out!" He won't listen to anything and hits out. His mouth is wet and pours out words, half-choked, meaningless words. It is a case of claustrophobia. He feels as though he is suffocating here. And he is, isn't he? And wants to get out at any price. If we let him go, he would run about everywhere, regardless of cover. He's not the first. He's not the first guy to go crazy. Though he raves and his eyes roll, it can't be helped. We have to give him a hiding. We have to beat him up to bring him to his senses. We do it quickly and mercilessly. And at last he sits down quietly. The others have turned pale. Let's hope it deters them. This bombardment is too much for the poor devils. They have been sent straight from a recruiting depot into a barrage, and that is enough to turn an old soldier's hair gray. So there's another bit of irony. The recruits didn't even get a chance to slowly go into battle. They just went straight from training right into the front lines where they could be hurt immediately. Awful. After this affair, the sticky, close atmosphere works more than ever on our nerves. We sit as if in our graves, waiting only to be closed in. Again, a simile. Suddenly it howls and flashes terrifically. The dugout cracks in all its joints under a direct hit. Fortunately, only a light one that the concrete blocks are able to withstand. It rings metallically. The walls reel. Rifles, helmets, earth, mud, and dust fly everywhere. Sulfur fumes pour in. If we were in one of those light dugouts that they have been building lately instead of this deeper one, none of us would be alive. Again, that idea of chance. But the effect is bad enough even so. The recruit starts to rave again, and two others follow suit. One jumps up and rushes out. We have trouble with the other two. I start after one, who escapes, and wonder whether to shoot him in the leg. Then it shrieks again. I fling myself down, and when I stand up, the wall of the trench is plastered with smoking splinters, lumps of flesh, and bits of uniform. I scramble back. The first recruit seems actually to have gone insane. He butts his head against the wall like a goat. Another simile. We must try tonight to take him to the rear. Meanwhile, we bind him, but in such a way that in case of attack, he can be released at once. Kat suggests a game of scat. It is easier when a man has something to do, but it is no use. We listen for every explosion that comes close. Miscount the tricks, fail to follow suit. We have to give it up. We sit as though in a boiler that is being belabored from without on all sides. Another simile. Night again. We are deadened by the strain. A deadly tension that scrapes along one's spine like a gapped knife. So they're constantly in tension. This is another major change. The insanity, the mental tension, the physical tension. They feel like there's constantly a knife going up and down their back. Our legs refuse to move. Our hands tremble. Our bodies are a thin skin stretched painfully over repressed madness, over an almost irresistible bursting roar. We have neither flesh nor muscles any longer. We dare not look at one another for fear of some miscalculable thing. So we shut our teeth. It will end. It will end. Perhaps we will come through. Constantly thinking it's got to be over. Suddenly the nearer explosions cease. They stop. The shelling continues, but it is lifted and falls behind us. Our trench is free. We seize the hand grenades, pitch them out in front of the dugout, and jump after them. The bombardment has stopped, and a heavy barrage now falls behind us. The attack has come. That means people are going to come hand-to-hand combat. The shells have stopped, and now the soldiers are going to come in to fight them. No one would believe that in this howling waste there could still be men, but steel helmets now appear on all sides of the trench, and 50 yards from us a machine gun is already in position and barking. The wire entanglements are torn to pieces, yet they offer some obstacle. We see the storm troops coming. Our artillery opens fire. Machine guns rattle. Rifles crack. The charge works its way across. High and Crop begin with the hand grenades. They throw as fast as they can. Others pass them. The handles with the strings already pulled. High throws 75 yards. Crop 60. It has been measured. The distance is important. The enemy, as they run, cannot do much before they are within 40 yards. We recognize the smooth, distorted faces, the helmets. They are French. They have already suffered heavily when they reach the remnants of the barbed wire entanglements. A whole line has gone down before our machine guns. That means we've killed a whole line of French soldiers. Then we have a lot of stoppages, and they come nearer. I see one of them. His face is upturned. Fall into the wire cradle. His body collapses. His hands remain suspended as though they were praying. Another simile. Then his body drops clean away, and only his hands with the stumps of his arms, shot off, now hang in the wire. The moment we were about to retreat, three faces rise up from the ground in front of us. Under one of the helmets, a dark pointed beard and two eyes are fastened on me. I raise my hand, but I cannot throw into those strange eyes. For one mad moment, the whole slaughter whirls like a circus around me. Simile. And these two eyes alone are motionless. Then the head rises up, a hand, a movement, and my hand grenade flies through the air and into him. So he sees the man's eyes before he has to kill him with a hand grenade. We make for the rear, pull wire cradles into the trench, and leave bombs behind us with the strings pulled, which ensures us a fiery retreat. The machine guns are already firing from the next position. We have become wild beasts. They're no longer human beings. They're wild beasts. This is a metaphor. We do not fight. We defend ourselves against annihilation. Annihilation means absolute death of everyone, nothing left. It is not against men that we fling our bombs. What do we know of men in this moment when death, notice personification, it's capitalized, when death is hunting us down? Now, for the first time in 3 days, we can see his face, death's face. Now, for the first time in 3 days, we can oppose him. We can fight death. We feel a mad anger. No longer do we lie helpless, waiting on the scaffold. We can destroy and kill to save ourselves, and to be revenged. We crouch behind every corner, behind every barrier of barbed wire, and hurl heaps of explosives at the feet of the advancing enemy before we run. The blast of the hand grenades impinges powerfully on our arms and legs. Crouching like cats we run on, simile, overwhelmed by this wave that bears us along, that fills us with ferocity, turns us into thugs, into murderers, into God only knows what devils. This wave that multiplies our strength with fear and madness and greed of life, seeking and fighting for nothing but our deliverance to keep alive. If your own father came over with them, you would not hesitate to fling a bomb at him. So they are so desperate, so in survival mode, that they even kill their own parents to escape death. The forward trenches have been abandoned. Are they still trenches? They are blown to pieces, annihilated. There are only broken bits of trenches, holes linked by cracks, nests of craters, that is all. But the enemy's casualties increase. They did not count on so much resistance. So that's the end of the first section of Chapter 6 of All Quiet on the Western Front. When we look back, we see a lot of ironic things. We see how the soldiers have changed dramatically. And, we wonder why. Always ask the question why in literature, that things are happening, that people change, etc. Why is this happening? The constant, ceaseless pounding, the constant worry for death. They can think of nothing else. And so this is what ultimately changes them, from boys to men, from human beings to beasts, and oftentimes irony and contrast and repetition is used by the author to bring these feelings home for you. Anyway, okay, that's the end of first section of Chapter 6. Back with Chapter 6, Part 2 in a few minutes.